everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be doing the most exciting buyer's guide of all time, and that is going to be on a Ford Raptor. Now this is more specifically going to be on a Ford Raptor between the year range of 2017 to 2020, and what I'm going to do in this video, since I own a Raptor, is I'm going to go over the specs on the Raptor, engine, all that kind of stuff first. And then I'm going to kind of show you guys around my Raptor, just to give you guys some different ideas on what you could do if you were to purchase a Ford Raptor. But with all that being said, let's get into the specs on the truck. I'll show you my truck, and then I guess we'll get into common problems with the Raptor. So first and foremost with the Raptor, let's get into the engine. And this is a very controversial thing for a lot of people because the EcoBoost has gotten a lot of crap. So if you get a 2017 to 2020 Raptor, you have one engine option. It's the high output version of the 3.5 EcoBoost. It's a twin turbo V6 paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, a lot of the complaints on the engine haven't been the performance, it's just been the sound. Everyone says, I want a V8 because it sounds better, and I guess because it looks better under the hood since it's got 2 extra cylinders, right? However, I haven't heard any complaints about the performance, and being an owner of a Raptor, I can completely understand both sides on it. Now, I have driven the previous generation Raptors. That 6.2 was crazy. The 5.4, not so much. That engine kind of sucked. But the 6.2, really awesome engine. However, my biggest gripe with the previous generation Ford Raptor and its engine was you have this great engine paired to this okay transmission. If that 6.2 was paired to a 10-speed automatic, that would be awesome, right? But it wasn't. It was paired to a 6-speed automatic, which was pretty good, but it wasn't the best. It was kind of sluggish at times, whereas the new Raptor has this 10-speed automatic that's just really quick through the gears. Obviously helps with fuel economy to an extent, but just the biggest thing is how it drives, right? The gear shifts are just bam, bam, bam. On upshifts, downshifts are really quick as well when you're in sport mode or Baja mode. So just the engine transmission pairing, right, does really well together from a performance standpoint. And honestly, on the sound itself, it really doesn't sound all that bad, especially when people modify the Raptors, when they put an exhaust on it, when they get nice blow-off noises. I think it actually sounds really good. No, it doesn't have a nice deep V8 grumble, but it doesn't mean that the sound's not appeasing. I've never had any complaints from anyone that has driven in my truck, and for me personally, I never feel like, oh man, I wish I had a V8. I never get that feeling. I have more than enough power, and I honestly enjoy the sounds the Raptor makes from the factory even, and the modified ones, I mean, they sound absolutely ridiculous. So I wouldn't let the V6 kind of turn you off just from a performance standpoint, from a sound standpoint, because from my ownership experience, you get used to it. Ford likes to make the interior packages kind of complicated with the names. You've got 800A, 801A, 802A. What it really means is you got the base model package, you got the middle of the line, and then you got the fully loaded. Now, if you just want to get the Raptor because you want an off-road truck that's going to be crazy on the off-road, it's going to be a ton of fun to drive, get the 800A if you don't like creature comforts. If you want some creature comforts, the 801A is actually a really solid package. It's a really good middle-of-the-line package. You get most of the stuff that the 802A package has. You're just missing a few things. Now, the 802A is what I have in this Raptor, and it's the fully loaded version. The reason that I got the 802A package is for 2020, they made a bunch of stuff standard. So, like, the safety tech is all standard. Obviously, you get heated, ventilated seats. You get the nicer seats, all that kind of stuff. It just comes with every single feature as standard, pretty much, and that's what I wanted, because I keep vehicles for a pretty short period of time, so having an 802A will help with resale rather than adding those options onto an 801A. And the other thing is, I'm going to use all the packages. All the safety tech I've used. I use the blind spot monitoring every single day, literally. I use the adaptive cruise control way more than I thought I would. I don't use the lane departure assistance because it's just annoying, but the collision assistance, all that stuff I've actually used, and so I'm glad that the Raptor has it, and that's why I love the 802A package. I think it's the perfect package for the truck itself, just because it gives you all the features as standard equipment. Now, in terms of options, this is where I'm going to kind of go off and give you guys a little bit of room to decide what you need and what you don't need. The first option that is very common is a bed liner. I don't recommend this. The reason I don't recommend getting a bed liner is Ford charges way too much. It's $575 for a Raptor to have a bed liner. I can get that done at a shop for 300, 400 bucks. So I know that's not a huge difference, but I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how much money I ever make. If I can save 150 bucks, I'm going to save 150 bucks. So bed liner, I'd recommend just getting it after the fact. Now, other interior packages is the carbon fiber package is a really popular one. I recommend getting it if you have the extra money to get it for your Raptor. Now, the reason I recommend it is it just makes the interior look so much more premium. Just having the nice carbon fiber trim and little parts of it. I know that it's not a necessity. It's kind of a little bit of a gimmick, but that little black trim that you get instead of the carbon fiber, in my opinion, is extremely ugly. And I think it just kind of ruins the interior on the Raptor. So if you've got the money for the carbon fiber, definitely recommend adding it. The next one is going to be like a sunroof. In terms of the sunroof, this one's 50-50. If you don't ever gonna, if you cannot talk. If you're never gonna use it, don't get it. If you are gonna use it, I use it every single day, get it. It's that simple. I'm not one way or the other. I've obviously jumped my Raptor, I think, on like 40 different occasions now, and I haven't had any leaking issues. I haven't had any issues with the sunroof. So you can still jump your Raptor with the sunroof. Get it if you want it. If you don't want it, don't get it. Another weird option is the little tailgate step. And for that one, I would say that you should get it. I didn't think that it was going to be a must-have option for me, but now having it, I definitely recommend it. I use it all the time. It's just a really nice option for me to have. And so yeah, if you're going to get a Raptor, I recommend getting the tailgate step. The next thing you guys, I'm sure, are all going to be wondering is these things. Should you get the Recaro seat package? And my answer is going to surprise you. It's going to be no. I do think you should get the carbon fiber package, which the carbon fiber comes with the Recaro seats, by the way. But the reason that I don't recommend the Recaro seats for most people is obviously this can clash with certain exterior colors. You got to be kind of picky with what you do exterior color-wise because the blue could look funny with them. Most of the colors it does pretty well. The only color I can imagine it doesn't really do well with is maybe the red from the factory. Everything else, it can kind of work, right? But the other thing that I noticed is I've sat in Raptors that have the regular seats, and the regular seats that come with the Raptor are just a little bit softer than these Recaro seats. So if you're a little bit older, or if you just want a little bit more of a comfortable seat, the Recaro seats aren't going to be the option to go for. They just don't wear in as much as the regular seats. The regular seats, the longer you use them, the softer they get, whereas these seats, they pretty much seem to never not be firm, if that makes sense. Never not be firm. What is today turning into? But yeah, they're just not as comfortable as the regular seats. I love how they look, and I personally love how they feel. I like just like the tight sports car seat feel in the Raptor. Just, I don't know, it makes it feel cooler to me. But for most people, I'd recommend probably just do the regular seats, even though I got the Recaro seats. They're just not as comfortable. Now, the next option that I've gotten a lot of crap for, I don't know why, is the rims. Now, I recommend if you get a 2019 or a 2020, try to get one with the beadlock rims. Now, I know that's a little bit of an extra cost, but just from like an aesthetic perspective, it makes the truck look so much nicer than the base model rims. And obviously it adds that extra functionality because you can turn it into a full-on beadlock. Now, for the 2017s and 18s, I think the beadlocks look like complete garbage. They're just, the spokes are too big on them. They're really ugly. If you need the functionality, of course, get them. But the standard rim on the Raptor is more than enough. Again, I got the beadlocks because they look good and they're functional. However, if you're never going to use that function on them and you really don't care either way in terms of the aesthetic of the rims, save yourself 1,700 bucks. I think that's how much they cost at least. I can look at the window sticker. Save yourself the money. Get the standard rims, and yeah, that's pretty much everything option-wise. I guess the last thing is just the decals on the Raptor. That's up to you. I didn't get them from the factory just because, and I'll show you guys later in the video, the decals that I did with the vinyl shop that I go to, Elite Vinyl Works, I think they look way better than what you get from the factory. The factory just does these ugly black stripes on the front and then the Raptor logo on the back. It just doesn't look that cool, whereas the claw mark logo that I did and then the size that I did on the stripes on the hood, it makes it look a lot better in my opinion. So on those, I would just get vinyl done after the fact so you can get like a custom logo on the side of the bed. But if you want to get it from the factory, get it. And that actually reminds me, if you get a Ford Raptor, On the tailgate, do not get the tailgate delete, don't, because it like gives you the little Ford logo. Make sure you get the full tailgate applique, because the delete looks so ugly. It runs the Raptor, so just please don't do that. Now let's quickly get into pricing on the Raptor. If you get like a super cab, which is the shorter cab, which again, I don't recommend that. I recommend getting the super crew, just because in the super cab, it's hard to fit people in the back there. But if you get a super cab, it starts in like the $50,000 range. If you add the super crew, it adds a few $1,000s, which I think it's worth every penny, because the back seat in the Raptor is absolutely massive. But the next thing, again, with the packages, I already recommended on that. If you do like a fully loaded Raptor, then mine stickered for just under $75,000. Some dealerships try to add addendums on it where they charge over sticker for it, but that's what the sticker is on the truck, is between $50,000 to about $75,000, depending on what packages you get and what cab configuration. If you're gonna want, I guess, a shorter wheelbase truck, then get the super cab. It'll do a little bit better in terms of maneuvering on the off-road, but I hear that it just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but I hear that it feels weird because it's so short, so it's kind of bumpier. So yeah, in my opinion, I'd recommend getting the super crew. In terms of issues with the Raptor, a lot of you guys have seen my videos on the truck. So I have heard at higher miles, this twin turbo V6 doesn't do the best in terms of holding up. I've heard things like issues with oil leaking, turbos going out, all that kind of stuff. So just be aware there could be a little bit more maintenance cost at really high miles on the Raptor. In terms of the suspension, so what I've heard is the 2017s and 18s from a suspension standpoint don't seem to hold up as well as the 19s or the 20s. People that jump the 17s and 18s seem to have more issues with the suspension breaking, or just with the suspension not holding up as well. And you can tell because the Raptors will sag down quite a bit on a 17 or an 18. From what I've read, and I guess from what I've experienced so far with my Raptor, is the suspension's done amazing. It's held up really well, and mine's a 2020, and they have the same suspension in the 2019s. So if you can afford a 19 or a 20, I definitely recommend going that route. The suspension seems to hold up better, and also on the off-road, it's so nice. And the truck actually stands a little bit taller than a 17 or an 18, so the truck also looks better, by the way. Other than that, really, it's just the engine that you kind of have to worry about, but it's a twin turbo V6. You kind of got to expect it. One thing that I did find out recently, if you get a bunch of mud in your rims, obviously it's going to make the truck ride rough. That's any vehicle, but these bead locks seem to hold mud in them really, really tightly. And so if you do get the bead lock rims, just understand that it's kind of easier for them to get mud caked into them than the regular rims. So what most people will recommend is you put the truck on a lift and you take all the tires off and you wash them out that way. But if you're my age and you don't want to spend 3 hours in your garage jacking up a truck and spraying stuff down with a pressure washer, you can just kind of roll under the truck and just remove it by hand and spend 10 minutes of your life instead of 3 hours, just saying. Now, before ending the video, I guess I'll just quickly show you guys my truck if you haven't seen it before, just give you guys some ideas and tell you some things. So like I said, I like the look of these. It just goes way better with the truck because they're super similar in color to the fenders, so it matches better than the silver rims. And then I actually made these match what the fenders are in color, and so just the shape that I did, how big they are, just looks a lot nicer on the hood itself. And then again, like I said, with the decal on the back of the truck, doing the claw marks just makes that look a whole lot better on the rear. And then just like any other vehicle, like I said, if you do plan on wrapping it, just get black, because you can see that with the black parts it kind of matches with it all a lot better, and it just kind of melds in better. Where, I mean, if you look at this truck right here, other than the wheel wells being black, which again doesn't look bad at all, you can't really tell that it is not a orangish gold truck. That is going to sum things up for our video today on the Raptors. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below what vehicle you want me to do next for my buyer's guide. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think, and then I will see all of you in that next video.